Natalie Price saw him standing outside the charity gala, holding a tray of champagne glasses. Daniel Hayes. The man who once promised to marry her. The man who disappeared from her life 15 years ago without a goodbye. And now he was serving drinks at an event her company sponsored. Natalie stopped in the doorway. For 1 second, the room went quiet in her mind. Then anger came back. Old anger. Proud anger. The kind that protects a broken heart by turning it into cruelty. She walked toward him in her silver dress and diamond necklace. "Well," she said, loud enough for nearby guests to hear, "I guess life gave you exactly what you deserved." Daniel looked at her. His face was older now. Tired. Calm. "Natalie," he said softly. She laughed. "Don't say my name like you still know me." People turned. Daniel lowered his eyes. "I never wanted to hurt you." Natalie stepped closer. "No. You only left me. You disappeared before our wedding. You let me stand there waiting like a fool." Daniel's hand tightened around the tray. Then an old woman near the wall gasped. She stared at Daniel's wrist. At the scar across his skin. Then she whispered. "My God, that's him." Natalie turned. The woman pointed at Daniel with shaking fingers. "He's the man who pulled you from the car." Natalie froze. "What?" The woman's eyes filled with tears. 15 years ago, after the crash. He saved your life." Natalie looked back at Daniel. His face had gone pale. And in that moment, the man she had just humiliated looked at her with the one thing she was not ready to see. Not anger. Not shame. Love. Natalie had spent 15 years telling herself Daniel was a coward. It made the pain easier. He had loved her once. At least, she believed he had. They were young then. Poor, but happy. Daniel worked nights at a garage, and Natalie studied business during the day. They ate cheap pizza on the floor of their tiny apartment and talked about the life they would build together. He used to say, "One day, you'll run a company, and I'll be the guy in the back making sure your car still starts." She would laugh and say, "You'll be more than that." But Daniel never cared about looking important. That was part of what she loved. And later, part of what she hated. 3 days before their wedding, Natalie was in a terrible car accident. She remembered rain. Headlights. Glass breaking. Then nothing. When she woke in the hospital, Daniel was gone. Her mother told her he had left town. Her father said, "Some men love the idea of a woman, not the weight of her pain." Natalie waited for Daniel to call. He never did. No visit. No letter. No explanation. So she healed with anger. She built a company. She bought a house with gates. She learned to speak in rooms where men used to ignore her. She became the kind of woman people respected because she never let them see how badly she had once been broken. And now Daniel was here. Serving champagne. Looking at her like he still remembered the girl she used to be. The old woman stepped closer. Her name was Mrs. Keller. Natalie recognized her as one of the hospital donors. "I was a nurse that night," Mrs. Keller said. "I never forgot his face." Natalie's throat tightened. "What are you talking about?" Mrs. Keller looked at Daniel. "You never told her." Daniel whispered, "Please don't." But Mrs. Keller shook her head. "She deserves to know." Natalie's heart began to pound. Mrs. Keller turned back to her. "Your car was upside down. The doors were crushed. Gas was leaking. Everyone was afraid it would catch fire." Natalie stared at Daniel. Mrs. Keller continued. "He climbed inside through the back window. He cut his arm open on the glass. He held your head still until the paramedics arrived. He kept saying, 'Stay with me, Nat. Please stay with me. Natalie's eyes filled with confusion. No, she whispered. Daniel left before I woke up. Mrs. Keller looked at Daniel sadly. He was taken to surgery before you woke up. Daniel closed his eyes. Natalie looked at his wrist again. The scar. The one she had never known about. Daniel said quietly, it wasn't supposed to come out like this. Natalie's voice shook. What happened to you? Daniel looked around the room. Guests were staring. The gala music played softly behind them, too elegant for a moment this ugly and honest. Finally, Daniel said. I didn't disappear because I stopped loving you. Natalie could barely breathe. Then why? Daniel looked at her with tears in his eyes. Because your father told me you would die if I stayed. Natalie stepped back as if Daniel had struck her. My father? Daniel nodded. After the accident, I was hurt too. Not as badly as you, but enough. My arm was cut deep. I had surgery. When I woke up, your father was there. Natalie's mouth went dry. He told me you didn't remember me, Daniel said. He said the doctors believed emotional shock could make things worse. He told me every time someone mentioned the wedding, your heart rate spiked. Natalie shook her head. No. That's not true. I know that now. Daniel looked down at his hands. At the time, I was 26. Scared. Broke. Covered in stitches. Your father looked me in the eye and said, if you love her, leave before she wakes up. Let her recover without the life that almost killed her. Natalie remembered her father's voice in the hospital. Cold. Certain. Always deciding what was best for her before she could decide for herself. Daniel continued. I asked to see you. He said no. I came back the next day. Security stopped me. The day after that, I was told your family moved you to another hospital. Natalie whispered, we did. I wrote letters. I never got them. I know. His voice broke. I waited outside your house once, months later. Your mother came out. She said you were engaged to someone else. She said you hated my name. Natalie pressed a hand to her chest. Her mother had died years ago. Her father had died too. And now their secrets were rising from the grave. I was never engaged, Natalie said. Daniel looked at her. I know that now too. How? He pulled something from his wallet. An old folded newspaper clipping. It showed Natalie 5 years after the accident, standing beside her new company sign. I followed your life from a distance, he said. Not in a strange way. I just wanted to know you survived. Natalie looked at the picture. You kept this? Daniel smiled sadly. I kept a lot. She wanted to be angry. But anger had nowhere to stand now. The story she had used to survive was falling apart. Daniel had not left because he was weak. He had left because the people around her turned his love into a threat. Mrs. Keller touched Natalie's arm gently. Your father made us promise not to discuss the details. He said you needed peace. Natalie laughed once, broken and bitter. Peace. She looked at Daniel. I hated you for 15 years. I know. You let me. I thought hatred was better than grief. No, she said, tears falling now. You don't get to decide that either. Daniel nodded. You're right. That answer hurt more than an excuse would have. Because he was not defending himself. He was accepting what the lie had cost both of them. Natalie looked around the gala. The expensive flowers. The champagne. The people pretending not to listen. Then she looked at Daniel in his server's uniform. For 15 years, she had believed success meant becoming untouchable. But now she understood something painful. She had not become untouchable. She had become unreachable. And Daniel had been standing in front of her the whole time, still carrying the scar from the night he saved her life. Natalie left the gala early. Not because she was embarrassed. Because for the first time in years, she needed silence more than applause. Daniel found her outside near the steps. Rain was falling lightly, just like the night of the crash. He stood a few feet away. "I'm sorry," he said. Natalie wiped her face. "For what?" "For leaving. Even if I thought I was helping." She looked at him. "You saved my life." Daniel's eyes lowered. "I couldn't save us." Natalie swallowed. For years, she had imagined this moment differently. She thought if she ever saw Daniel again, she would make him regret leaving. But now regret stood between them on both sides. She stepped closer. "I said cruel things to you. You were hurt. That explains it. It doesn't excuse it." Daniel looked at her then. Really looked. And the years between them felt both enormous and fragile. Natalie took a breath. "I don't know how to forgive 15 years in one night. I'm not asking you to. I don't know if we can ever be what we were." Daniel gave a small, sad smile. "We can't." The honesty almost broke her. Then he added, "But maybe we can stop pretending it meant nothing." Natalie nodded slowly. Behind them, the gala continued without her. For once, she did not care. She reached for his wrist, the one with the scar. Her fingers trembled as they touched it. "This is from me." Daniel shook his head. "This is from the night I chose you." Natalie began to cry. Not the proud tears she hid quickly. Real tears. Human tears. "I'm sorry I didn't know." Daniel's voice softened. "I'm sorry you had to learn this way." They stood under the rain until the cold reached them. Then Natalie said, "Would you have coffee with me tomorrow?" Daniel looked surprised. "As what?" She smiled through tears. "As two people who have a lot of truth to tell." The next morning, Daniel came to a small cafe downtown. No gala. No diamonds. No audience. Natalie was already there, waiting. When he sat across from her, she did not see a failure. She saw the man who had loved her enough to run into broken glass. The man who had disappeared because he believed her life depended on it. The man she had humiliated before she knew he had saved her. And Daniel saw something too. Not the rich woman who mocked him. But the girl he once carried from the wreckage. Older now. Stronger. Still hurt. Still worth knowing. Their story did not restart with a kiss. It restarted with coffee. With the truth. With two people finally brave enough to ask what really happened. Because sometimes love does not disappear. Sometimes it is pushed away by fear, buried by lies, and hidden behind years of pain. But when the truth finally comes out, it can still save what pride almost destroyed. And sometimes the man you thought abandoned you was the one who saved your life.